Hey guys, Coach Nate here. Today we are talking about the 5 important keys you need to know to develop your 10K race strategy so you can have a successful race. Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as the saying goes, failure to plan is really preparing to fail. So the most important number one key for our 10K race strategy is, do we have a plan, right? Do we have something that is built around our current experience and fitness levels and goals? Is it something that it's pace specific that we've gotten a chance to practice and execute in our workouts, so that we're not just pulling something out of our rear end and hoping that this works on the actual race day itself? And just to give you an example, let's say I'm trying to go after that 40-minute 10K, I'm trying to break that barrier. Hey, have I run a 20-minute 5K in, say, the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, right? I need to know that I at least have that, preferably a little bit faster, if I'm going to have a success with that 40-minute 10K. Once I have that and I've got my sense of paces in, this is when I can start to think and mentally visualize just that early part of the race. The 10K race is not won in the first 2 miles, but it is certainly lost in the first 2 miles because your adrenaline is going, everyone just went off the line, everyone surges, no matter what. If you were trying to run on your actual speed, you're going to feel slow compared to everyone else out there. So you have to have that plan, and you have to have that pacing strategy pretty dialed in so that you can execute really well on those first 2. So that's the most important key, number 1. Now, not only do we need to know the course and have some familiarity there, but we need to know the terrain of that course and the weather that on that particular day that you're going to be running that course. So those 3 things are super important because they're going to affect your plan in terms of how fast you're going to be able to do this thing, right? Is this any old 10K anywhere? Is this 10K in your backyard and you know every single hill intimately? Is this the flattest 10K? Is this a 10K up a mountain, right? That's going to vastly affect the times you're going to be able to run. Is this a 10K at 6 a.m.? Is this a 10K at noon or in the middle of the heat of the day? Is this a 10K after Labor Day weekend or Memorial Day weekend and you've had a little enjoyment of the weekend, shall we say? All of those things are going to factor into what you can do. So making sure you know that stuff is really good. If you have the ability to run on the course itself and practice that a little bit, that is such an advantage. It's actually been scientifically proven that athletes who are performing time trials on familiar terrain will actually be able to get a little bit more effort out of themselves than when they're doing the same course, the same distance, but on unfamiliar terrain. So that advantage, that intangible advantage of knowing the course and practicing the course, is an enormous one. Our next key is the warm-up. Are we actually going to give ourselves time to warm up for the 10K itself? You know, showing up, chatting with our friends, arms crossed, is a nice way to start the morning, any old morning, but it's not the best way to physiologically and mechanically prepare ourselves for the event, the job at hand. So try to give yourselves at least 30 minutes before that race to run for about 10 to 15 minutes easy. I get the question sometimes, hey, if I actually run before my race, won't I waste energy for the race itself? And the answer actually is no. It just takes that little bit extra to get your body primed so that you can get the best out of yourself. If you actually feel terrible in that first mile or 2 of your race, it actually is a sign that you didn't do enough of a warm-up just yet. So make sure you get that 10 to 15 minutes easy. You stop, you do some dynamic exercises, some squats, some leg swings, some hip circles, some arm swings, just some ways to open up the arms and shoulders is a nice way to do that. And then you give yourself just a few drills just to mentally sharpen that knife, that run technique that's so good. And then of course a few striders, making sure that you're running about 75 to 100 meters. You start at about a 50 to 60% effort. And then over the course of those 5 striders, you start to accelerate all the way through. So you're going to race pace and beyond. The goal of this, it should all be done about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the race. You've got a light sweat going, you've elevated the heart rate, and you are super primed to get to that starting line and have a really good event. Next key, you may not want to hear this, but I'm actually going to suggest that you avoid the water stations for this actual race. Now, that doesn't mean you can't cruise through there and get a quick little cup of water to splash over your face, or take a little something and rinse out your mouth. But basically, a 10K is short enough that rehydrating for this event isn't really going to help your event. Of course, there are some factors that could change this. If it is exceptionally hot that day, if your 10K is over some terrain where this is going to be way over an hour, or it's going to be 2-hour 10K because you're doing a 10K up a mountain, like by all means, please, if you're exercising for 60 minutes to 120 minutes, like drink some water in there. But if this event is closer to like 50 minutes or 45 minutes or less, just a small mouthfuls of water is all you're going to need. And really all you're just trying to do is stay cool and just keep your mouth from getting too dried out and cotton mouth like you're gonna vomit because you're going so hard. I know what that's like. That's basically what the water stations to be. So I'm just running right through, quick sip of water. Otherwise, I'm not stopping at them. I'm not taking on gels. I'm not eating bananas. I'm not doing anything crazy for the 10K. I can save that for after. One of my next favorite race strategy tips is to find a race buddy out there on the course. Now, if this is someone you know and you guys are close and you can run together, great. If this is someone you find, that can be even another fun little discovery. And basically, after that first mile or two, things have shaken out, that the people who went out too fast and slowed down, you've passed them. The people who went out and have stayed away, they're in front of you. So the people around you kind of after that mile to 1 to 2 is probably going to be your crew, right? So your focus is to find some shoulders and to stay on them. You can just mentally save a little energy. You can think about drafting a little bit, especially if it's a windy day, staying and running on that shoulder. And you can even take turns and go back and forth. Help them, and then they can go ahead and help you. And when you're starting to suffer and focus inward, having that little bit of outward focus to either encourage someone or to chase someone or be motivated and get pushed by someone is always going to bring a really good effort out of yourself. So our final key for a 10K race strategy is to mentally prepare to suffer a little bit on miles 4 and 5 especially. Now, it's one of those truths with racing. It doesn't get easier, you just get faster. Even if you've done everything perfectly, you've gotten there early, you've planned and you know the course, you've gotten a good warm-up in, you've been patient in those first 2 miles, you found that race buddy, you've been cheering each other on / competing each other at the same time. If you've done all those things, miles 4 and 5 is still going to be hard. But the good news is if you can anticipate that mentally, that makes a big difference in your ability to feel confident here, because you won't feel caught out by pushing there a little bit. So dial in, focus on that next mile, that 1 mile at a time. Don't worry about mile 6, that'll take care of itself. Mile 6.2 will take care of itself. Just those next 2 miles is where you need to be running your tallest, running your most relaxed while you're breathing hard. And if you can do those things, you are going to have a great race, and I can't wait to hear about it. Hey, you'll notice that running well, that 10K, takes more than just the run workouts themselves. It actually takes being an athlete. It takes building the strength, the range of motion, and staying injury-free while you're doing it. That's why we have our 2-week Quick Start program that we want to give to you. It's free. It's 2 weeks long. You get all this great stuff delivered to you that you can do from home. All you need to do to get it is click this link in this video or the link down in the description. It'll take you to a web page where you can enter your name and email, and then I'll be able to personally send you those workouts. Pretty good deal. Hey, if you like this video, let us know. Drop that, hit that like button down below. Any comments or questions on 10K race tips, how to throw that elbow at the right time so no one sees. I'm just kidding, you wouldn't do that. You can go ahead and throw that in the comments down below. And of course, subscribe to our channel, guys, because we have running tips, marathon, hydration, ultra, trail, 5K beginner running. Something you have a question on with running, chances are we got a video on it or we will have it soon. So subscribe to our channel. Guys, that is it. I'll catch you in the next video.